Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and riveting and amazing Propagandacast from your host and Pearl Dane, the one, the only master propaganda hero, like defender of the fatherland, off to a glorious 1v1 on Bayeux. In the east it is Vonlewinski, fighting for the Wehrmacht Germany, Deutschland, here with the 1st Panzer Division with Mechanized assault, featuring assault gunneries, Mechanized assault groups, the Stug 3E, light artillery barrage in the TIE tank west and west it is Prabuty, fighting for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, Comrade Stalin, and the 3rd Guards Mechanized Corps here with Guard Motor. No surprise there, T-3035s, heavy mortars, Guards Rifle Infantry, vehicle crew repair training, and marked vehicle. We got a Grenadier MD-42 start here for Vonlewinski versus Prabuty's double engineer concept start. Allowing to see small territory in the early game, obviously not expecting it rushed. I mean, if Vonlewinski were for some to rush up assault gunners right now, Prabuty might actually be in a tough spot depending on where these assault gunners then hit, because these engineers will definitely struggle a bit versus that. That, of course, requires that Vonlewinski does push out assault gunners. Hard to say there. I mean, I've seen plenty of players will actually go for very heavy assault gunneer builds when they go for mechanized assault, but also seen players that actually just don't bother with the assault gunners at all. Typically, those players make me a bit sad. Anyways, as always, a big hearty thanks to my Patreon supporters, champions, and heroes, and without the support, the Propagandacast would not be possible, so big thanks to all those. Other people enjoy the ranks by pledging on Patreon, or they can donate by PayPal, links in the description. Finally, commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, it's all something that helps the Propagandacast. So, Pioneers and Engineers here, contributing forwards there for Prabuty up north here, Gunneers moving forwards, machine gun there backing up as well here. We got the 2nd Gunneer squad there for Prabuty. Up north here, contributing forwards, Gunneers moving forwards as well here for Vonlewinski. Very quietly, otherwise, besides that light skirmish in south here as Vonlewinski's Pioneers backed off in the face of the Engineers. 3rd conscript there for Prabuty, standard sword build there, the triple conscript double sword engineer build. Very good. They obviously gives you some pressure, some firepower, but also ensures you don't leave yourself too heavy in infantry. You can still fairly easily go for Guards Rifle Infantry and a heavy mortar. Consequently, with aim forward to suppress the light cover, ultimately not providing much protection against suppression for very long, in particular not versus the MD-42 and its very high rate of fire. Grenadiers versus the conscripts here. These versus the MD-42 up north. South here, steady quiet. I mean, so far Prabuty's just getting most of the map here versus Vonlewinski. Not much contest there. Moving up the centre with the Pioneer, sandbags up. 3rd Gunneer squad there for Vonlewinski. Engineers routed. Now, the MD-42 had a sort of, technical rate of 1,200 rounds per minute, but in reality, the machine gun could not withstand that rate of fire, so what typically happened is they'd insert a heavier bolt to lower the effective rate of fire of the MD-42. Of course, still had a very high rate of fire, still very accurate, but it didn't quite fire those 1,200 rounds per minute. Would also not be the first case of them modifying machine guns. The actually modified MD-34s have even higher rates of fire. In fact, some would have rates of fire equal to that of the MD-42. So, fun fact then, go figure. Finish the conscripts here. Setting out there with Vonlewinski's Grenadier, straight for the car point, laying down sandbags. Though, what he could also do is actually lay down S-mines on the carve point, just to slightly mess with things here for Prabuty. Machinery from north here, Grenadiers from towards the centre as well here. South here, Grenadiers and Engineers there. Medics at the ready there for Prabuty. Engineers right by the Grenadiers. A lot of back and forth here, but so far Vonlewinski, despite, being searched forwards here by Prabuty, is now steadily gaining ground. He's pushing back Prabuty across most of the front line here using his Grenadiers, his MD-42. Mighty as well by Prabuty. Thumbs up. Will, of course, require Minesweeper here for Vonlewinski. And typically versus most area players, you should typically get up Minesweepers relatively fast, because most of them will be laying down mines if they know what they're doing. If you've seen early Flamethrower, you can maybe get away with it, or they're focusing on going for airborne troops, you may also not need it because of plenty munitions and other things, but in a lot of other scenarios, getting a minesweeper can save you a lot of manpower from your men getting their feet blown off. But so far, noting Bobby here, Vonlewinski, 3 Grenadiers, 1 MD-42, no assault Grenadiers, so he did go for mechanized assault and didn't go for any assault Grenadiers, which again I do find to be a bit of a shame, as the assault Grenadiers are actually fairly decent if you know how to use them. They can do a lot of damage up close. Their assault grenades are great. And if you get up to 6-man, they actually become really powerful. In particular, with some veterans, they can really chew apart infantry, I find, and support weapons. So I find mixing Grenadiers assault grenades actually a fairly good forced composition when backed up by an MD-42. Like to make a nice combo there for Vonlewinski and the 1st Panzer Division. One of the first elite armoured divisions in the German army. It typically tends to get less talked about, as it was more like at the start of the war, because Elite had sort of, 2 full mechanized infantry battalions with armoured half-tracks, where at the start of the war, most divisions could have muster a company of mechanized infantry. So, little fun fact there. Bunker up for Vonlewinski, 2-2 as well there. The leichte Panzerspielwagen, 222. Northern point being seized, lots back and forth. Victory points there not seized. As for Prabuty, straight ahead rush for the tank group 10 command. Could be the T-70 here, could be the anti-aircraft half track. Both options there, of course, for Prabuty versus Vonlewinski. The 2-2 is almost done. Machine in there playing fairly passively here. Some of his troops are definitely not in a great condition. But there we go, armoured car has arrived. The 222. Gun is retrieving the centre. Prabuty, of course, quick to swing back in action here versus Vonlewinski and the German army. The South here constantly caught with the armoured car. And we do get the half-track here for Prabuty. That will force either a second armoured car from Vonlewinski, though most Venom players will try and avoid that, or a Pack 40. And he does have the bullets with the Pack 40, so I'd very much expect a Pack 40, though again, double 2-2s can be a fairly effective strategy, not just because it could shut down the half-tech fast, but then also allow to put more pressure on Prabuty's infantry much faster. But again, it is a fairly rare option, in particular on a map like Bayeux, where it can be difficult to get proper, room for the armoured cars. And the armoured cars' pathing tends to be finicky even on their own, but add in two of them and you suddenly, you can have some issues. So I don't fault him for it, but I do feel like at times more Valorant players would at times benefit if they were at least a bit more open to the idea of going for a second armoured car. I'm not saying going for two armoured cars will always be the answer, but sometimes it could confer them some tactical advantages. So something to consider there. Back here for Vonlewinski's base, nothing further happening. You could also add in a mechanized assault group. I mean, right now, I'll obviously not want to with the half-track there still, but we'll say once you get through the half-track, if it does it fast, you could consider calling it a half-track to then apply more pressure there in the mechanized assault group specifically to apply more pressure to Prabuty. That could be an option here for Vonlewinski to consider. Mines go up from the south of Pioneers. Again, no minesweepers there. Definitely no sight by Vonlewinski. As always, when up against the Soviets, expect mines. So in this case, of course, Prabuty with the anti-aircraft tank and the flamethrower would not have saved up or laid down a lot of mines because he's obviously saving up for it. So you can argue to some degree Vonlewinski, didn't get punished too bad for not going for minesweepers. But there you go, heavy mortar out here. That'll definitely be a problem here for Vonlewinski. Pack 40 can definitely become pressured, could even just become smoked. And of course, the third heavy mortars in general are just really, really good. There's a reason again, a lot of people tend to go for the heavy mortar when they go for gut motor. Pioneer setting out, that Pack 40 going northwards. South here, bit about 40 between Prabuty and Vonlewinski. MD43 there, very close to about 21. Could of course clear up the half-tech there with the instant piercing rounds if it doesn't get flanked with the right ankle. There we go. Could try and pop it here, I guess. But yeah, heavy cover's ruined, so obviously shouldn't pop it there now. Plus, of course, it's suppressed. Which, by for those wondering what suppression does, it basically lowers the action of the unit, but also reload speed of the unit significantly. It also gives them a slight buff in terms of received action. They become harder to hit for a brief while. That said, after a certain amount of time, once the suppression buff or pin lasts long enough, they start taking more damage. So you can't keep them around forever suppressed either. If you do, you're going to lose the unit. But it is a little sort of distinction that I think is not known by most people. Little noteworthy one there. Gunny's pushing forward here. Minesweeper's up there for Vonlewinski. After they're blocking up things. Another machine gun here for Vonlewinski. Good hit for that Pack 40 on the half track. Almost got it there, but it does dodge way up north. Here we got the gunny attack needs the conscripts. Not enough forces up north. We do get the Pioneers and the armored car being rushed in to protect the northern territories. I think one thing Vonlewinski might want to consider is actually taking a deeper flank route here, going basically moving up through here, where as you might notice, there's not actually a lot of sight, and then trying to sneak up behind, I think, Prabuty's front line. In fact, going for second armored car and then sneak up the armored cars through here could allow him to launch up an armored car raid behind the half track, possibly at the right time and knock it out. Plus cause some havoc there. But that is, of course, something to consider for, well, another match, I guess. Obviously not without risk. They run into mines or some guards, but obviously run into some issues. Looking towards the conscripts. Hopping forwards. He's routed there in the centre, or conscripts routed, after they're getting better too. So far making good use of it here versus Vonlewinski. Vonlewinski will definitely need to consider taking up soon again, bring up some more firepower. He also, I think, needs to consider getting more on the offensive because just playing, more static gameplay here versus the heavy mortar is going to be, I think, long-term bad idea for his men's continued welfare. Control right here met with heavy, intense firepower there from before 2 cards from the north here. And there you go, quick grenade there. Constantine there throws a bit too far. The machine crew does take a lot of damage. Deeper flank up here as Prabuty leads his socialist frontline forces into flank there. Hitting the car front, very good. Take on the way there for Vonlewinski in the south. Gun is moving forward there for Deutschland. Come on, Ludwig, we must show these Marxists. What for? Marxists? I thought they were Stalinists. Stalinists, Marxists, Leninists. They're all ists. They must all cease to exist. Before coming up there. A mortifier there. Definitely continue to add some woes here to Vonlewinski's current situation. Tech almost done. Making progress in the south here. Half-tech rushing southwards done. The MG42 does not have Veterans 1 there. So won't be able to fire the internal weapons rounds at the half-tech. Possibly take it out here. Need the armoured car down there, I think, or the pack. Light machine gun fire, the heavy machine gun fire again, doing no real damage here to the half-tech, of course, but still, Prabuty here taking no chances. Obviously concerned about the possibility of the pack 40 or the armoured car. Armoured car down forward here. Could take out the near squad here with a bit of luck. No, firing on the heavy mortar instead, looking to force it back. Can't fault him for trying that, though. You fall to the continent, this gun is pushing further southwards there. Vonlewinski there with some daring rage versus Prabuty. He's almost round. Off there in the south continent, they suppressed by the MG42, pinned down to the ground and retreated. Half-tech rushing further southwards there. We're driving there to exploit its speed, to quickly move from one end of the map to the other one in a matter of seconds here before Vonlewinski gets a chance to react. Smart play there by Prabuty, thumbs up. Could build a Supremo core and then rush out some army here soon versus Prabuty up north, MG42 and armoured car raking the guards there with heavy firepower. He could also go for the Stug 3E, I guess. Probably won't, but he could. Meanwhile, though, Prabuty's taking up there. Mechanized on a company that's going to force either Stug 3G or a Panzer 4. Most likely a Panzer 4, though. Going to use with the conscripts. Armoured car, or half to the heading northwards, close to Veteran 3 on it. In the south, conscripting about there, probing the southern flanks there of Vonlewinski's front line, which are in fact completely undefended. So far, of course, it is worth noting Vonlewinski has yet to use the commander even remotely. We haven't seen any assault grenadiers, we haven't seen the mechanized assault group. Certainly no Stug E, obviously can't go for it yet. So we'll have to see. And certainly don't fault him for not going for the mechanized assault group with a half-track out there. That could just shut it down pretty fast. So this is one of those cases where I definitely can't fault him at all. But arguably, he could have gone for some assault grenadiers sooner. We'll have to see. He goes from the pack 40 in trouble. Trying to take out the half-track. The half-track they haven't caught up in some bad terrain there. Moving into the woodland was not the best position to get stuck in. I do think, though, Prabuty, Vonlewinski, needs more infantry. He's got against 4 squads, but only 3 squads. We can see there, he is struggling to, fight effectively across this entire front line with just 3 infantry squads. So, he's also flooding a lot of manpower. So I think there's a strong argument for Vonlewinski right now to consider a 4th squad. Again, assault grenades be a great addition, in particular since he can now get them up to 6-man, which again will allow him to grab points faster, but just gives them 6 guys, and it's crucially 6 grenades on the grenade assault. So Pomacop there for Vonlewinski. Panzer Grenadier Squad could also be a great addition. Even a 4th Grenadier Squad would be good. He just needs, I think, more infantry than just 3 Grenadier Squads here versus Prabuty. Almost got the more to their fun. Prabuty there definitely caught a bit off guard here, a bit lax. Of course, Prabuty could also be like more aggressive and active up in the flank up north here, like he's also heavily focused in the centre, partly because Vonlewinski draws in there, but also in part because Prabuty just also kind of makes a lot of his moves in the centre as well. Still, the half-track has proven to be a great investment here for Prabuty. Unsurprisingly, it is a very powerful light vehicle. And it's going to be allowing him to go fairly fast for the T-3035. There we go. That's definitely, I think, going to require Stug 3D for the best results, but I imagine Vonlewinski will, of course, go for the Panzer IV. So it is, of course, a nice middle ground, a safe choice. Armoured car there closing in, whoops, on Veteran 3. Going into the centre of the guardsmen. Need to treat those conditions before they get wiped out. In particular, that squad would be a complete waste here for Vonlewinski to lose. And of course, the other issue would be pushing him down to 2 squads, which would be very unsustainable for very long. with the way Prabuty is so far attacking. There we go, Panther 4 for Vonlewinski, and he still has plenty of manpower to spare for extra infantry, so he really should consider another infantry squad very strongly. Back here, reinforcing healing, T-3485, ready there for Prabuty and the Red Army. Main tank of the Soviet Army, sort of roughly 1944 to 45. That did take a while to get production really going on the T-3035. The early model actually had a slightly weaker turret with a slightly weaker gun as well, though they were quick to upgrade that and get that sorted out. They did also try to create the T-3045M, which was supposed to be like a modernized version with like even thicker frontal armor, but as many of the other projects went to come to really up armoring the T-34, it never really panned out. Partly because the armor was basically still too heavy, and what they could apply ultimately just they didn't feel right enough protection, so they kind of ended up scrapping that. South the appointment grab there by the Grenadiers, southern field point in danger of falling into German hands here. Prabuty will need to put a stop to that, because his half-tech could very rapidly deliver a rapier thrust to put a stop to that. Southern field point lost, Panther 4 there is base in the centre. Planting the fire here, Grenadiers will need to retreat in the south. He's still floating a lot of manpower. Like at this point, he either needs to go for like more infantry, or he could consider fuel cache, like help him get more armor out. Oh, now he needs infantry. He lost his one Grenadier squad. He does replace it, but imagine like he had another Grenadier squad as assist. Maybe he would have needed it. So that of course might be a bit too speculative, but I do feel like he needs more infantry. Strongly. Yeah, like looks like that MD42 might just fall into the third hands. Machinery positioning. Panther 4 needs to cover for it. Fresh Grenadier squad ready here, and they're going to just make a run for it. Brian to the MD42, but they're going to grab it. There we go. They sacrificed Dimitri for it, but no one really liked Dimitri anyways, and overall they think they got the better end of the trade. Cantering forward stage, shoots at the heavy mortar, pushes it back. All important to be seized there as well by Vonlewinski. Plus, of course, just having another integral launch more successfully just harass and grab some of all these points on the side there against Prabuty. Got the conflict upgrade to the 7-man squad size there with mobilized reserves. Of course, worth noting is that as the war went on, the Soviets also struggled significantly with manpower shortages in a lot of these units, as the war went on would actually also be under strength. Of course, they would take measures to like try and deal with this. For example, signs like, empty the gulags for troops there, prisoners would normally be in trouble, suddenly put back into frontline action. So, little fun fact. Now, of course, it's the end of the myth, they just had like infinite manpower reserves, but after a certain point, even the Soviet army was starting to really feel the hurt in terms of manpower. T-35 heading northwards here for Prabuty with his 85mm gun. Gasping northwards there, Betchy 2 there. Pushing on that car point again. Prabuty is finding himself a bit more on the defensive versus Vonlewinski. I think he's going for T4 here. Yup. He's also brought in a second pack 4 to help stall for that. Meanwhile, Prabuty's being in the stabilization field, but still Vonlewinski's managed to stabilize now. He seemed like pushing back Prabuty, so that's good for Vonlewinski, and obviously a bit of an issue there for Prabuty and the Red Army. But of course, Prabuty is not too far away from another T-35, at which point stalling for the target tank, or whatever it is Vonlewinski is planning for, could become a bit more problematic. And crucially, troubled. But we shall see what he actually ends up doing, of course, how Prabuty responds to this. T-35 they're moving forwards. Join the pack 40 here. Good shot there. Constantly ahead here, a full large, so it falls under Prabuty's command. Coupling 40 onto the armoured car. In the centre as well, they're being held up. Being hammered there by the MD42 and the Panther 4. He's been fought up north here against the Panther 4. 10 kills, close to 21. Field gun firing away. Double packs here on the T-35. Hey, mortar in trouble. Up north they got Engineers field moving forwards. Armored coming hit very, very close to Destiny 3. Northern, you grab the point. Go from the pack forward in the T-35. There's forced retreat. Field gun pulling back. Prabuty definitely struggling now here versus Vonlewinski, though again, Vonlewinski at this point choosing to go for tier 4 also gives Prabuty better chance to recover. Whereas again, like Vonlewinski were to say adding another Panther 4 right now, go for a bunch of Stugis or whatever, like he could pressure Prabuty a lot more efficiently, but by, you know, trying to go for the target tank most likely, he does effectively put the economy in hold, and it does give Prabuty more room to flex his economy versus Vonlewinski in the meantime. So this sort of target stall here as always includes, I think, significant risks. And while I won't say never to go for a tiger tank, my advice would always be to at least, you know, make sure to have one more medium tank before going for at least a number of Stugs before trying to solve for the tiger tank. Like, you don't want to give your opponent too much, you know, breathing space or too much leeway. It's like, you know, stage your comeback easily against the tiger tank. So again, my advice will be go for like at least a bit more medium armor than a single Panther 4 before trying to go for the tiger tank. I know that's not quite as sexy, but it's a lot less likely to, you know, give your opponent a chance to, like, you know, wrest back control of the match. So keep that at least a bit of piece of advice in mind. Up north here though, Prabuty stretches forward his forces once more, hammering away at the northern German lines there. Cover being turned into rubble here under heavy sword artillery fire from the heavy mortar. South MG42 remains on watch. Panther 4, they need repairs. He certainly also needs more pioneers power. That's actually one thing Vonlewinski really needs, particularly planning like something like the tiger tank, which he's currently, well, roughly 5 minutes from. Actually a little under that. Lost another grenadier squad, replacing again with another one. More heavy mortar bombs there with fused timers, delayed fuses. Another grenadier squad there for Vonlewinski. T-Fed following forwards. Engaging the grenadiers, they need to cover up, bunching up in front of that one. It's 85mm gun. Casting forwards here for Prabuty. Northern points could be seized there. And the south MG42 there has its flank quite widely exposed. There's still not really much action north between Prabuty or Vonlewinski. Seems like they kind of forgotten the north exists. It's being routed. Panther 4 there. Almost got the happen. Once more, Prabuty's able to escape. They got 15 kills on it. Virtually free. I mean, really just an excellent investment there for Prabuty in the Red Army. And there you go. Film crew caught here with artillery fire. If they could destroy it, that would be pretty good here for Vonlewinski. It would deny Prabuty a crucial tool here as the field gun is an incredibly efficient anti-tank gun. In fact, I'm a bit surprised Prabuty hasn't gone for a second one. But that said, it's probably down to Vonlewinski bleeding him out effectively so far. Which again means that the whole, you know, tiger stall also means again just he's not bleeding him anymore as efficiently. Grenades up there for Prabuty. Vonlewinski getting ever closer to the tiger tank, but again, the sort of strategy currently is actually making it hard for him to go for it because again he doesn't have a lot of army, there's not a lot to absorb the firepower from his infantry, and again that means he also gets bled out. So you can sort of see, like, you know, both players are sort of bleeding each other out, preventing the other from going for that big tank, though I think Prabuty's endgame of probably just more T-35 is more achievable than the tiger tank currently, because again the T-35 is steadily escalating, so the tiger tank, like, you need to, like, you know, really get up there and then boom, you get it out. But again, Prabuty is suffering from heavy bleeding and is so far still not particularly close here to the T-35 himself either. So maybe Vonlewinski can make it work out. I'm actually surprised here. One thing that is Vonlewinski is not used to say more to deploying these smoke screen support attacks. I mean, that could make it much harder for Vonlewinski to use his machine guns or his packs against them. We also got the armor car abandoned and destroyed. Small win there for Prabuty. His half-tech meanwhile is still alive. Still, I mean, good work there with Vonlewinski keeping the armored car alive for that long. Panther southwards, 15 kills. So he's going to fire from the Panther 4 and routed mercilessly. Another hit there from the Panther 4. I mean, Vonlewinski almost has the fuel for the Tiger tank now. The issue is going to be the manpower, which is certainly a bit further away from. Prabuty, meanwhile, has got the fuel almost for now 2 T-35s. The issue, of course, remains for him as well, manpower. Which really highlights in the game that the manpower is by far the most important resource. Like, you can't do anything else without manpower, you know, in terms of getting in units. There's also one you have to be mindful there about bleeding yourself out at times. But again, at the same time, you also need to make sure you bleed out your opponent efficiently to make it hard for them to also not go for their big stuff. So in an interesting way, we sort of kind of get up in this, like, you know, dance of bleeding here as they sort of slice away each other. But again, they neither sort of really deliver like any significant blows, but they're neither really able to bring in something significant to the table. But now, I think both players are realizing they need to like set up for something bigger, so they're both sort of slowing down the action here. So they allow themselves to go for it, which again then allows, you know, the other ones to more easily also stall for the big stuff. So Vonlewinski, half a minute away so now from the Tiger tank. Prabuty very close to that T-35, but again, head-on assaults here still, like no smoke screen being deployed. In this regard, Prabuty is definitely not helping himself make this job easier. Like, he's not, like, you know, minimizing the damage he's taking by like any sort of tactical measures, like again launching a northern flank or deploying smoke around here or here. Like, he could be doing a lot of things to ensure he doesn't bleed as sufficiently heavily when he attacks Vonlewinski. Or just start reinforcing his troops instead of going for that Tiger tank. Like, he's really close to the Tiger tank and then he decides to start reinforcing. I think he should have bitten the bullet there and just, you know, accepted he would have a little less force, you know, presence for a brief while just to get out that Tiger tank. Meanwhile, Prabuty can finally go for another T-35. Though imagine at this point Prabuty's kind of figured out his opponent might go. He does go for the T-35. I think that's fine. But again, apparently suspect he might be planning an H-35 that actually goes as an expected Tiger tank. Oh wait, T-35 there, almost done. But the Tiger tank is almost as well here for Vonlewinski. And the 605th Schwere Panzerabteilung. Still bleeding himself out. Come on, Vonlewinski, you just gotta like keep yourself reinforcing just a few more moments. And now, it's like it's compulsive for him. Like even like, you know, you could call in the Tiger sooner, he just insists on reinforcing first. There you go. Finally got the Tiger tank out here for Vonlewinski and the German army. That would have been a fairly insignificant delayed Tiger tank, though. Arguably, he was also able to delay his opponent's T-35 there, number 2, a fair amount as well there, so make of that what you will. That said, had Prabuty again thought more smartly, I think it had gone up more T-35 more easily, making the Tiger Soul much more perilous and dangerous for Vonlewinski. I'll wait, Tiger tank at the ready, moving northwards here. Should of course add the pen-mounted MD-42 for anti-infantry. There you go, great shot there. Takes out a huge chunk of the counter-squad. They're 2 men dead, and the rest are definitely feeling like they had much better days. Panther lands great in the counter-squad, almost taking that entire unit out there. Some devastating hits to the Prabuty, but that's 2 squads of counter-squad basically rendered combat inoperable here. There you go, both T-Flips going for the Panther 4. Shots land hitting there. Aircraft shot. Oh, he got the half-track. He finally got the half-track. Guards come from the flank of the Tiger tank. They need to be careful, Shoots. Wow, that did nothing. Bunch of infantry. Landed fairly close, but still did nothing. Second shot misses as well. That is an incredible act for Prabuty. I mean, that's 2 squads bunched out in front of the Tiger tank. And the Tiger tank misses even on the 3rd shot. That is amazingly lucky there for Prabuty. And there's got to be a bit annoying there for Vonlewinski. Like, you guys are supposed to be good. You have an 88mm gun with high explosive shells. You couldn't hit those guys. Have you been at the schnapps again? Nein, Herr Obersturmbannführer. I'm not with the Waffen-SS. T-35 northwards for Prabuty, looking to clash with the Tiger tank head-on. A bold choice there. You figured, like, you know, like, look to think about it maybe, but oh, he's going for the northern Grenadier squad here, which could leave himself open to be flanked by the Tiger tank and the T of the Panther 4 here. We could see that being flanked by the field. We've got Conscript nearby. Good shot there. Grenadier squad needs. Oh, they're going to get wiped unless they get very lucky. which they didn't. Even dropped another light machine here, being bombarded by the Tiger tank. Pack force up the Panther as well here. A fairly heated engagement between Prabuty and Vonlewinski being hammered here. T-5 taking it for the Pack 40. Some hit, some miss. Tiger tank there, 4 kills, half H veterans 1. The artillery strike here on the guardsman. Confrontation pushed back here, and the 17 being mauled by MG42 fire from the grenadiers. Could get wiped out. There go, exterminated. Tiger tank there, further form back here, still in good condition. Confrontation taking a nasty hit. Half the squad obliterated as the high-explosive shells rip them to chunks. Up north there, Panda 4 and Tiger tank found the guard squad. T-35s on the offensive again there. Vonlewinski's infantry, down to just 2 squads, are in tatters. He needs more infantry still, very badly. Prabuty could have also called for more infantry. We also called in another T-35. There you go. Pack destroyed. Another problem for Vonlewinski. He still has the Tiger tank. He still has the Panda 4. But in other ways, the situation is tightening up here for Vonlewinski versus Prabuty, who, of course, hasn't gone out of this entirely unscathed either. 9 kills on the Tiger tank. Close to veterans 1. Still needs more pioneers. He needs more of everything right now versus Prabuty. And you can sort of see the problem there with just starting with a Tiger tank like he did. He was just able to build up easily like a safe resource, reserve in case something went sour. And meanwhile, Prabuty now with just multiple medium tanks is more easily able to build that, and of course it's larger armored force. So the situation is definitely going to get much more awkward here for Vonlewinski. Much more awkward. More delayed fuse bombs there. Finish being 40, heading more to the court. Tiger tank taking us hit it from the field gun straight from the frontal armor. In reality, the 6th edition field gun struggled very heavily apparently with the Tiger tank's frontal armor. Even at close ranges, it could not penetrate it. Same with the Panther, it could not consistently at least. It's a fun fact. The 12 kills from the Tiger tank, close to 1. Pack 40 gets a good hit there. Ace level. Pack there's definitely going to help out, but in other ways, Vonlewinski's situation remains dire. He has brought in more pioneers, which is great, but he's splitting them up instead of focusing on 1 tank at a time here. Panther 4's almost good to go again. Crucial thing, of course, to keep in mind here is Prabuty has 3 T-35s. That is also no problem. Right there, Vonlewinski, I think, makes a pretty large mistake since the Panther 4 there on its own. Right into the waiting guns, the T-35s and the field gun. South side seeing no action. The T-35 on the move here, going to catch that Panther 4. Almost got it there. Lots of bounce. That's actually quite lucky there for Vonlewinski and his Panther 4. Fairly lucky. More misses or bounce. That is... Wow, Vonlewinski's Panther 4 there has got to be like just filled with 4 clovers or something like that. Field gun moving up here. Pack wiped out. Firing at the wrong T-35 there. It's not great there, except if you're Prabuty there. Go Panther 4 down. Tiger tank there. Got one of the T-35s finally, but Vonlewinski's forces are absolutely being wrecked. The rifle there. Guardsman almost wiped out here. Both sides and heavy... deep troubles here, but in the end, though, Vonlewinski is worse off. The heavy mortars is just murdering his forces there. And Vonlewinski's got nothing left to support Tiger tank, which reached Veggie 2 there, which is pretty good for the Tiger tank. In the end, though, he has to surrender. Lost there for the German army, a victory for the Red Army, though, an intense, closely fought battle here. That said, both players, I think, around the mid-game now, they're both, saying up for the tanks, could have played it smartly. Prabuty could attack more through the north, could lay down smoke, and Vonlewinski should have brought in more armor before starting for the Tiger tank. So, yeah, there you go, though. Hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell friends, tell family, but don't enemies. This is Imperial Link. Cheers. Thanks for watching, and you all a wonderful audience. Bye, everyone.